Hey, good morning, my friends. Time to set up for the morning briefing on this absolutely gloriously beautiful morning. It is beautiful. Check that ocean out. And is that rain over that way? Maybe over toward Long Beach, California, also? Kind of looks that way, but it's gorgeous, sunny, warm where I'm standing right here, right now. And we have got a lot to talk about. We will go south of the border and check out what's going on down in Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico. The Independence is in on the beach fishing for yellowtail and other critters as they're making their way back from a long-range trip. The Royal Polaris, great wahoo fishing. We've got local yellowfin tuna biting in Southern California and so much more. You know what time it is. It's time for me to set up for the morning briefing. Golden hour here in Southern California. Let's get to it.
The Freedom has just arrived at 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California with a great catch of bluefin tuna. One of our biggest fans, Sifa, was on board and sent these photos over to us. So happy we could include you on the morning briefing, my friend.
Hi, this is JR with the Fibbers. You know what time it is?
It's time for the morning briefing!
One of my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. What an intro that was with the Fibbers Christian Fishing Club. Thank you so very much. The men and women at the Fibbers Christian Fishing Club not only love the great outdoors, but they're always involved in making our world a better place. They are such an honor for me to know personally, as well as go over there and give a speech every once in a while. Great people, and what a great intro. Lots to talk about here this morning. We've got to take you south of the border. We'll go to Ensenada, check that out. Check out the long range thing. We've got local yellowfin tuna in Southern California still biting and maybe getting ready to really break wide open. We got to check Tanner Cortez Bank, all the islands, the surf, and so much more as the ladies and gentlemen over at the Christian Fibbers Fishing Club, almost screwed that up, just said, you know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Man, is that good and much needed. It is a gorgeous morning, kind of golden hour, although the sun right now is hiding behind the clouds. It's sure to come out in another moment or so. It is beautiful. It's warm, it's sunny, it feels like summertime, and that ocean, look at how flat calm that ocean is right now. It is beautiful. Hey, if you don't mind, hit that like button, share these videos with a friend, subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel, and tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, also over there on TikTok, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, X. You can follow us on all those social media platforms, in addition to everything we do here on YouTube, and I highly recommend you do it. Thank you all for bringing used fishing tackle into several tackle stores as we continue to push ahead by collecting used tackle that's going to go down to the island of Cedros for the kids there. And man, what a great venture this is. Diego Nuno is the man responsible for starting this idea. He's a deckhand on the Royal Star, and he was born on the island of Cedros. And working with Diego, my dear friend, we've done much in the past in terms of distributing goods in Mexico. This is going to be something else we'll be doing. In addition, we've got a lot of clothing and medical supplies and so much more that we'll be sending to other parts of Mexico later on this year. All right, if you want to drop something off, used fishing tackle right now, you can do it in Bellflower by going over there to Young's Tackle. You can also go right down the street here to Big Fish Bait and Tackle. That's in Seal Beach. Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. Up in the northern sector, we've got Ventura Sport Fishing. We have got Eric's Tackle in Ventura. We've got Hook, Line, and Sinker up there in beautiful Santa Barbara. And we've also got Tackle Express in Santa Clarita. Our thanks to each and every one of those stores for helping us so very much. It is deeply appreciated. All right, let's jump into it because there's a lot to talk about. We'll take you down to Ensenada, start out there where it's mostly rockfish right now. Now, that is not to say you can't get a barracuda flurry. You can go offshore and find some yellowfin tuna. There's some 71-degree water around the 425. There's been some yellowfin mixed with the bluefin, and guys down there are picking off occasional bluefin in other areas also, getting occasional yellowfin tuna, but it's been very hit and miss for that offshore tuna. So you can fall back on some superior rock fishing right now. Not only that, however, there is some bass to be caught. You got calico and sand bass, and those yellows really have petered off quite a bit, but there's still the chance at a bird school of yellow inside the bay. Keep your eyes open. You see the birds picking at the bait. That bait's on the surface because those yellows are forcing it up there. You run and gun. In other words, you run over there as fast as you can, shut down and throw an iron. That is such a fun way to take the yellows. But a lot of rockfish right now. Those guys will give it their honest try to get that tuna to bite if that's what you want to do. If you want to go offshore and look for BFT, you tell your pongero there or the guy running your little six-pack down there out of Ensenada, and they will oblige you with whatever it is you want to do. Long-range fishing, what a year it has been. 6, 7, well, call it 7, 8-day trips for the most part this summer have been phenomenal. For a long period of time, months now, this has been going on. The Royal Polaris, the XL, the Independence, you name the boat, they've all had really successful and fun trips catching wahoo, like the Royal Polaris yesterday with some outstanding wahoo fishing. You know, you can focus on that who, and when the guys have been doing that, it has been spectacular. Every once in a while you'll miss on that, but for the most part, the wahoo bite has been absolutely spectacular. Those fish are not only great eating fish, but they are so speedy. You will be amazed when you hook one. You'll hook one in the stern, and then all of a sudden, without any notice at all, your line is up in the bow, and you got to put your track shoes on and get up there and get on that fish. I mean, they are so speedy and so much fun to catch. There's great yellowtail action on these long-range trips right now, and there has also been some of the best yellowfin tuna fishing we have seen in decades on these 7 and 8 day trips because they're so numerous. We've been catching a lot of fish, and because the size of these yellowfin has been spectacular with a lot of 40 to 80 pound yellowfin tuna on most of these trips. The long-range season has been sizzling, and it continues that way. The Independence is going to be backing into Point Loma sport fishing tomorrow morning with another great catch. They've had their way with the yellowfin tuna, really great yellowfin tuna fishing, some good yellowtail. And yesterday they went in on the beach. Now, guys that have been going in on the beach on the way home have been finding some white sea bass and great calico bass fishing and all kinds of other stuff. Yesterday they went in there and that water was a little bit on the cool side, but they still made the most of it, caught some yellowtail, wide open sand bass fishing for those guys, and then they dined on some delicious sashimi and sushi. Just check that out. Take it from me. The food on the Independence is absolutely to die for. That leaves me waiting and wanting and really excited about our trip in April of 25. We've got a 5-day trip on the Independence. Hope to see you on that one. So some really good stuff going on there. As we move you up here into the Southern California area and cross the border, we've got some awesome fishing, or some pretty good fishing going on Tanner and Cortez Bank. I say awesome because, you know, guys are still catching good numbers of bluefin tuna. And I think we've just set the bar so high now, it is difficult to catch limits every single day. And so when we fall short of that, sometimes you feel like it's not that great. But it's still pretty darn good. Not that wide open bite that we had been seeing. And it's still breezy. We're still dealing with that breeze. Not terrible, but snotty weather is what I would call it right now. It's still breezy. Looks like that weather could come down like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, really come down and be beautiful, but that's a ways out there for a forecast right now. We'll hold on and see it. That would coincidentally arrive right when we'll be on board the Apollo. Can't wait to see you all on that trip. That's going to be a fun one, leaving at 9 p.m. And that's the 24th of September. And then coming back at 7 p.m., make sure you're bringing some 25-pound fluorocarbon. The night bite in that zone has not been very good here for quite some time. Catching really big bluefin tuna earlier in the year was a given. Right now, it is very scratchy on that big grade fish. Sitting on Tanner and or Cortez Bank, fly line and a bait has been the way to make it happen. Roy Rose was on the Game Changer, and good to see Roy out there doing his thing. They had pretty good bluefin tuna fishing going on. They also had a yellowfin tuna. The Fury was out there on a 2-day trip, and they had 24 bluefin tuna and 4 yellowtail out of Dana Worsford fishing. I talked to Max on the Highliner. They only have 13 guys on board. Max said great opportunities and pretty darn good bluefin tuna fishing. He said some of the guys were just more interested in sitting around, and the guys that really wanted to catch a fish had no trouble doing that. Polaris Supreme, a 2-day trip, 23 anglers with 25 bluefin tuna, and the Pacifica on a 3-day trip, 19 guys, 24 bluefin and 8 yellowtail. So you can hear it has come down. Good for some guys, slower for other guys. Pretty good fishing so far, continuing out there in that neck of the woods. And it'd be nice to have that weather come down. Remember now, this could be because of that, where is it? There it is. You can't see it, but I can. That big full moon, because during the last full moon phases in months previous, we've seen a slowdown on the bluefin tuna bite, and then we get a little ways away from it and it comes roaring back and bites really, really well. So we'll see how that all plays out in the next few days. Starting to move away from that full moon, this is when that clicks back into gear and really starts to bite. Let's talk islands, and we've got to talk to Coronado Islands, where the yellowtail bite there was spectacular for the whole year long. But here recently, it has slowed up quite a bit. It's not as wide open as it once was. I would say, you know, if I had to ballpark it, like from 5 to 20 yellowtail per boat right now, that's about what we're looking at. There's also some other species. If guys want to focus in on some bass and rockfish, lingcod, they're able to do that also. The Liberty had 7 yellowtail. And again, they have all that other stuff going along with it if they want to fish for that. The Vendetta, too, had 4 bluefin, 3 yellowtail, and a whole bunch of whitefish to go along with that. So we are seeing some of that. And some of those full day guys are offshore trying to find that yellowfin, trying to find that bluefin. That overall has been very dicey and very, very tough. So we'll continue to watch that offshore situation for those full day guys. This is the time of year when that stuff really likes to bite. And it's also the time of the year when you get more variety in here. So hopefully that is right around the corner. Fishing 25-pound fluorocarbon, a good hot bait, has been the way to make it happen at the Coronado Island. San Clemente Island bass and a little bit of yellowtail there at times. The calico bass bite has come down quite a bit, but it's still pretty good if you focus on a great rock fishing. Catalina Island, a lot of different species, but just a little bit of all of that, making some of the guys say, let's fill up with rockfish now, because surface bite has tailed off. The calico bass bite is rather scratchy. There's some good bonito fishing, no question about that. You can put the hammer down on the bonito. A little bit of barracuda, and while we see some yellowtail, it's been hard to get a bite on those things. The El Patron yesterday with good rock fishing for everybody who was out with them. So you can hammer out some good rockfish scores, but in terms of any kind of a surface bite, it's been a little bit more difficult over there. If you're headed to Catalina Island, why not do it on the El Patron? You can jump on that speedy, comfortable boat with great crew and zoom over to Catalina Island. Weekday prices, you get a bargain. Man, I'll tell you, nothing better than the El Patron daily trips, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. to Catalina Island. www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Get on the El Patron. Up as we work our way up into the Channel Islands, lots of rockfish up there in that area. We do see an occasional sea bass. The island tack had a couple of white sea bass, occasional halibut up there, but for the most part, rockfish have been dominating the catches up there. By the way, at the end of today's morning briefing, you're going to see my dear friend, Captain Daniel Hadaway. We talked to him live about what the Island Spirit is going to be up to this weekend. Kids fish free on Sunday. So check that out. It'll run right at the end of the morning briefing. Don't forget, if you want to get on board the Island Spirit, you're going to love that rig. She is so spacious. Great crew. Captain Daniel Hadaway, nothing better www.venturasportfishing.com, or give them a call at 805-676-3474. The Island Spirit is such a great ride. I know you're going to enjoy that. Up there in Morro Bay, Avila Beach, when the weather's good, we've been catching copious amounts of rockfish up in that neck of the woods. Some private boaters up in NorCal are getting some big eye tuna and also some big bluefin tuna. That's still a thing. San Francisco, good striper fishing going on up there with some pretty darn good halibut fishing and some albacore offshore up there in that neck of the woods. So that is all really good for our NorCal friends as they're fishing up there. Has been spectacular. I got to get up there and do the San Francisco thing one of these days. I would love to do that. PromarAhi.com. You got to get your lobster hoop nets. Why not save 10% by going to PromarAhi.com? Put in FA, Friedman Adventures, FA at checkout, and you'll receive a 10% discount. Not only on the lobster hoop net, but on gaffs and anything you see for sale there. 10% off. Check that out. Let's check out our local fishing. And oh my God, we've been touting the San Diego local bite all year long because it has been spectacular for months, just like the long range thing, man. It's been going with calico bass and sand bass and sometimes some barracuda, but the yellowtail fishing, wow, the new Seaforth yesterday morning, 27 yellowtail. Captain Brian on the new Seaforth says, don't you dare come out here with anything less than 30 pound to fish for the yellowtail. You want to bring some lighter stuff for the calico bass, which I'll get into with you in a moment. But for those yellows, fish the heavy. If you're throwing the iron, whether it's a yo-yo or a surface iron, I would throw it with 50, at least 40 pound, okay? Some of these fish are pretty darn tough and nasty, and you'll need that heavy line to pull hard on them. 27 yellows on the morning half-day run, new Seaforth. How can it get any better than that? In the afternoon, the yellows didn't want to play, but the calico bass bite was phenomenal. Easy limits of calico bass. New Seaforth out of Seaforth Sport Fishing, putting the wood to the local fishing, and it's been great. The premier limiting out on sand bass. Great sand bass fishing for them. Man, I don't know how it can get any better. The dolphin with great bonito fishing and calico bass and rockfish and so much more. That local bite has been phenomenal, and it is continuing as we get close to moving you into the fall. Great fishing going on down there. Oceanside area, we continue to pick away at some bass down there, and that neck of the woods, pretty good bass fishing at times. A lot of fish being released. We taking a look also at the Davies Locker Newport Beach bite, and the Western Pride continues to catch good bonito fishing and also catching some pretty darn good bass fishing with the calico bass. Now let's talk local yellowfin, because we're kind of up in that neck of the woods. A lot of this going on a bank called the 267 up to the 14-mile bank. Not very far at all, within range of the local boats out of Newport Beach. Also, these guys can get to it. Maybe when this fires up a little bit better, if it starts to bite with greater ferocity, maybe everybody will be in on this. Wet Willie Charters. That's our dear friend Will Beardo, and he was out there. He said popper fishing, throwing a popper on this yellowfin tuna is not only a lot of fun and not only awesome to see fish blow out on the popper, but the yellowfin are biting it pretty darn good. You can see on board there a nice yellowfin tuna being taken on a popper. Again, Wet Willie Charters, they do such a great job. Local yellowfin tuna fired up. We got to thank Captain Sean Morgan, who found this fish maybe a week ago, and we reported on that to you. He sent his son Rudy out there. Rudy had 5 fish, and big ones too, and very close to home, Rudy said. So father and son team, the Morgans doing it again. Way to go, boys. And now everybody's on. A lot of private boaters are getting in on this also. Trolling squid chains has been another good way to get a bite. Some of this fish is 20-pound fish, but some's over 60 pounds. YFT in SoCal. If you're jumping on a sport boat, you might want to check with them and see if they're going to fish that stuff. Sometimes, but right now, this fish is very finicky. Hard to get a bite on anything over 25 pound, but I would definitely bring it, because if that light switch goes on, maybe this full moon phase wears off and that stuff really bites, you're going to want to have some heavy string with you also. So bring some heavy fluorocarbon and bring some 25 and smaller circle hooks, like number 4 circle hooks. but I would bring some larger ones also in case things change. You've got to be ready to adapt. You've got to be observant. Keep that all in mind, and hopefully this YFT is going to provide some great action as we move into the fall. Up here in the Long Beach, San Pedro area, we continue to pick at the bass, but not all that much. It's been mostly sculpin, whitefish, rockfish, that kind of thing. Every once in a while, we'll get a good score on the calico bass. The Monte Carlo 22nd Street Landing had a good bass today. The other day up there out of Redondo and Marina del Rey, same thing. There's some bonito around there, a little bit of bass, mostly rockfish, sculpin, and that kind of razzmatazz right now as we take a look in the surf. We got to take you down to Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California, because that is your surf fishing headquarters here in Southern California. They got all the bait, tackle, and everything you'll need for a successful outing surf fishing here in Southern California, or if you're driving across the border down to Baja, you can get it all there. And they have also, in addition to that, everything you'll need for trout fishing, for bass fishing, for big game marlin fishing, and big bluefin tuna. You can get it all there at Big Fish Bait and Tackle. In the surf, kind of scratchy, but man, what a glorious morning to be fishing here. This is perfect surf fishing weather. Throwing a little chrome crocodile or a lucky crab lure has provided some anglers with a decent halibut from time to time. There's been some better fishing, it seems like, up there around El Segundo. That warm water continues to hang in there. There's yellowfin croaker and pretty good corvina fishing around the Topaz Rock jetty. Here, we picked off some small perch, decent on the yellowfin croaker, but not wide open, and a little bit more on the spot fin croaker here recently down there around Huntington Beach, California, Bolsa Chica, areas like that. We continue also to see similar kinds of catches, scratching at a corvina or two. You can get some sand crabs down there by the Huntington Beach Pier. Also here in Surfside down by the jetty, there's an ample supply of sand crabs, and you can turn those sand crabs into a corvina or two while fishing the surf. I have noticed some really good fishing across the border down in Rosarito Beach. There's a beach called Playa Bebe, Baby Beach, Playa Bebe, and they've had some good fishing. An angler down there the other day had a nice big striper that he caught. There's been some good bar perch fishing, and fishing overall down in that neck of the woods has been pretty darn good. All right, my friends, what can I tell you? It's another gorgeous morning here in Surfside, California. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day to join us here today. Of course, we'll be monitoring and watching everything for you very closely. Don't forget, get over to Friedman Adventures on Facebook, on YouTube. Oh, you're already here on YouTube. On Instagram, on TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcast, and on X. And we'll keep you in touch with all the very latest there also. Take care. Have a wonderful Friday and a fabulous weekend, and I hope to see you really, really soon.
It couldn't be any better, and it's always great to see you. The Island Spirit is got to be one of my favorite rides. Big, spacious, great food, great crew, and we're curious what you're up to for this weekend because we've got trips on the Island Spirit Saturday and Sunday. What are you looking at, Daniel?
Absolutely. We're first of all appreciate that. We always love having you guys out. We're a definite go for both Saturday and Sunday. Got pretty nice weather and had really good bottom fishing lately. Probably gonna more of the same. Um, we have another I think 2 weeks left of fishing under 300 feet, and then the regulations change, and we have to fish deeper than 300 feet. So gonna be keeping that theme of fishing like whitefish and rockfish, and keeping it in the 200s or something, shallower water. Take advantage of that before we're gonna be fishing deep for the rest of the year here.
All right, our buddy Dan Lightfoot says hello, and he asked about depth, so you've already
Mhm.
answered that. One thing when you're fishing that shallower water is you don't need big, heavy gear, really, do you?
Nah, you can fish with light gear. It's totally fine. We have tons of people fishing with spinners and stuff like that, and they do just fine.
All right, very good. So, shallow water rockfish. Let's talk a little bit about surface action. Is that going on? Is there a chance at catching some stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a chance. We actually we have nice sardine in our bait receivers again, so definitely something we're gonna try. Catch some bass, go in the kelp there at the end of the day. So absolutely a chance at some surface stuff. Try for some, halibut, bass, barracuda, stuff like that. So I'm gonna be giving that a shot as well this weekend.
All right, Mitchell joins us and he says, "Yeah, the reps changed. Time to dust off the electric reels and lobster hoop nets for sure, man. That is for sure."
Oh yeah.
I've seen like occasional good catches of some decent bass fishing up your way. Also, I
hmm
know that it's nothing you can bank on right now, but should you bring some artificial lures or has your bait been good? What's the deal with all of that? And Dan Lightfoot's asking the same situation. Dan, great minds think
yeah.
alike.
Um, for a couple months there, we had live bait, but it was that tiny anchovy that you can hardly get on your hook. So the guys fishing the artificials were doing a lot better, catching bass and stuff. But we're back to having really nice sardine in our wells. We have really good bait right now. So you don't really need the artificials, but if you enjoy fishing them and know how to do it, absolutely, you can bring your artificials and feel free to fish with them. But we do have very good live bait as well.
Daniel, we have people joining us from around the world, and they're coming to Ventura maybe and want to jump on a trip. Where do
Yeah,
you fish exactly? Not much on the coast right now. You're fishing islands. What
yeah,
islands do you fish? What islands are accessible to you on this run?
yeah. So we usually fish Anacapa or Santa Cruz Island. On occasion, we'll go down the coast. There's a couple nice reefs that we have good rock fishing on that are down the coast a little bit. Sometimes we do that. Um, and then obviously on when we have extended trips, there's a couple other areas that are past Anacap Island that have really good rock fishing as well that we go to. So on a typical half day trip, we usually start out at Anacap Island, and sometimes we even get to fish a second island and go to Santa Cruz as well. But you can usually bank on fishing at Anacapa on a half day trip.
Yeah, and your half day trip seems to be a little longer than most, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., right?
Yeah, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And given your penchant for staying late, it might even be a little bit later than that if everybody on
Yeah.
board could do that. And I think that's great stuff. Q Ball says, "Good morning, Captain Daniel.
Good
Great to
morning.
have you here with us. Sunday is Kids Fish Free Day. Tell us about that."
Absolutely. We still have plenty of room for this Sunday. It is kids fish free. So with each adult ticket that you purchase, you can bring a child ages 12 or under for free.
All right, good stuff. And man, the smiles on those trips are extraordinary, man. I
Oh
love
yeah.
that. Getting the kids out there is so good for them. And it just presents a really great atmosphere. Weather, you said it's going to be decent, it looks like.
Yeah, weather looks pretty nice for both weekend days. We're excited for that.
All right, good stuff. And I never even asked this because, because I figure most people know. But like I said, there's people all around the world watching this. You have a full galley on there, right? I can walk in the galley.
Yeah.
I can get a breakfast, pancakes and bacon and eggs, or I can get a breakfast burrito. Or why don't you tell us a little bit about the galley?
Yeah, we got tons of options. We got a full service hot galley, so we sell all the drinks, snacks, beer you'd want, and then breakfast and lunch are served as well. For breakfast, you can either get a breakfast burrito, breakfast plate, breakfast sandwich, pancakes. Anything that involves eggs, bacon, potatoes. We'll make you whatever you want for breakfast, and for lunch tons of options as well. We have several different types of burgers on the menu. We got hot dogs, quesadillas, grilled cheese, tacos, burritos. It's a lot of options. We got tons of good food in the galley there.
All right, good stuff. Daniel Lightfoot, how do I get away with bringing both my grandkids by myself? By finding a friend that wants to go with you, Dan.
Yeah, bring a buddy, and you can bring the second grandkid for free.
Cue Ball was out there with you. He said he took his kids and they had an absolute blast. So that is great stuff. And cool, granddaddy. There's your volunteer, man. He'll go with you, Dan.
There you
Problem
go.
solved, man. There you go. Abe's a great guy. Abe, good to see you here this morning. Mackie says, bring a leash. Or one of the kids, I guess. Too funny, man. Anything else, Daniel? I mean, do you have an equipment, like what should people bring in terms of tackle? Perhaps we could end with that. What
Yeah.
should people bring?
Yeah, tackle's pretty simple. It's much of the same. I'd bring sinkers ranging from like 6 to 16 ounces. Maybe one small sinker for a halibut drift, like a 4 or 6 ounce sinker. Maybe a couple 10-ounce sinkers, couple 16-ounce sinkers for rock fishing, and then with the size bait we have now, it's nicer bait. You can use instead of like the size 2 or size 4J hooks, maybe switch to 1.0 or 2.0 J hooks. Probably better for the size bait we have now. And then also 3.0 circle hooks for rock fishing, and then maybe a variety of sliding sinkers as well.
All right, good stuff, man. All you got to do is offer to get one of Dan's grandkids on the boat by going, and whether you're a man or not, he's calling you babe. He says, "Thank you,
I
babe."
see that.
Yeah, and Mackie said he's married, but you're welcome. Man, this is getting a little off in the wrong direction here. Hey, Daniel, what's the best way to book, man? It's going to be an extraordinary weekend up there. Saturday, Sunday, Island Strip, Ventura Sport Fishing. What is the best way to accomplish that?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can call the landing at 805-676-3474. And either Sal or Taylor, one of our office staff members there, are going to be more than happy to help you guys get a spot on the Island Spirit. If you prefer to do it yourself, you can go online at venturasportfishing.com and make your reservation there.
Hey, and how does that work online when you have a kid? Is there a box you check, or how does that work?
It's if you want to take advantage of the kids fish free special, it's better to call the landing so that they can do it for you, or you can call the landing and they'll give you a discount code that you can put in at checkout. But it gets a little bit confusing. If you want to bring a kid for free, it's easier to just call the landing and they'll take care of it for you.
All right, I was thinking of that. The Mighty Mackie wants to know, are you still having game fish only days? I think you were doing like a lingcod kind of thing at one point.
Yeah, we
Or
were doing like lingcod specials and halibut specials. That's something we may do in the future. We were also thinking about doing those deep water rock fishing specials as well once the regs change a bit. Yeah, we have a couple different things in mind. We haven't put anything up yet, but obviously as soon as we do, we'll do a show and keep you guys posted.
I highly recommend to everybody watching that you go back and watch the video we did with Daniel when we did the deep water
Yeah.
rock fishing. We had a 12-pound bocaccio, as I remember, and just giant cod, and that's right around the corner. When does that deep water open up again?
Just a couple weeks away. I believe it's October 1st.
All right, perfect. That all sounds great. Daniel, always a pleasure. Always great to see you. And let's see, when are you going to Hidden Reef? That's what Q Ball wants to know. After
Yeah,
October 1st, right? Sometime
yeah.
after that?
After October 1st, we might put a couple deep water cod specials up where perhaps we leave an hour early or stay an hour late, something like that. Just give us a little more time and we can do that.
Yeah, I'm in, man. I'll be up there. I can't wait for that. I love that kind of fishing.
Yeah,
Daniel,
absolutely.
always a pleasure. You have a great day and a wonderful weekend. I know all the folks that will be joining you from Friedman Adventures are going to have the time of their lives.
Appreciate it. Really looking forward to seeing you guys. Have a good weekend.
Take care, Daniel.
You too, Phil. Thank you.